Today's lesson from Soflex Math deals with factors, and we're going to have to be using factors to do fractions a little bit later on. So once again, this is part of our fraction overview or background work in order to be prepared for adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing of fractions. So let's take a look at our first number as our first example. So we have the number 12, all right? And factors always come in pairs, so we're going to say what times what equals 12, or what times what equals 20, or whatever number we're trying to figure out. So in this case of 12, let's just start with the number 1. So is there a match? So in other words, 1 times what equals 12? And I think we can all easily say 12. And then we're just going to kind of count up through 10 to make sure we don't miss any. So my next pair, I'm going to start and see if 2 works. So 2 times anything equals 12. All right, if that's a good way to think of it, or you can think of it backwards, or the fact family, 12 divided by 2. Either way, you're going to end up with a 6. All right, so I'm counting 1, 2, all the way up to 10. So I'm going to try 3. Okay, 3 times what equals 12? That's a 4. All right, what about a 5? Nope. 6 we already used, so we don't have to write it again. What about a 7? Nope. What about an 8? Nope. What about a 9? No. And what about a 10? No. So my factors here of 12 are 1 and 12, 2, 6, 3, and 4. What we want to get in the habit of doing, though, is to write these in order from least to greatest, and that's going to come in valuable a little bit later on when we talk about the greatest common factor. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the numbers that I have in my pairs up there and kind of take them out of their pairs, and I'm just going to write them in a list. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12 are all factors of 12. Those are all the numbers I came up with. I just now order them from least to greatest. Like I said, in this first part, just finding factors, you don't necessarily need to. When we get to greatest common factors, you will need to do this. So we might as well just kind of start working ahead and getting that written out for you. All right, so let's take a look at number 20. We're going to do that the same way. So let's think about the number 1. 1 times 20. What about 2? 2 times 10. 3 does not work. What about a 4? Yes, 4 times 5. What about a 6? Nope. What about 7? No. 8? No. 9? No. And 10 we've already used. Okay, so same way, we're going to rewrite our list here of our factors of 20 in order from least to greatest. So our 1, 20, 2, 10, 4, 5 is now 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 12. So those are all the factors of a certain number. So when they ask you a question, though, they're going to ask you what are all the factors. So you can't just list, okay, 1 and 12, I'm done. Nope, you have to list all of them. If you even miss one, they're going to mark that problem wrong. So make sure you find all of the factors. All right, so let's try a couple other numbers. All right, so let's take a look at the 24. All right, so once again, working on our pairs, 1 and 24. And then we're going to have 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6, 5 does not work, 6 we already used, 7 does not work, 8 we already used, 9 does not work, and 10 does not work. Remember, we always want to go through 10 just to make sure we have all the facts there. All right, so I'm going to go through my list now and rewrite them from least to greatest. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. So look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 factors for one number. So 8 factors for the number 24. So a whole bunch. All right, let's take a look at 17. Okay, so I have 1 and 17. All right, now if we go through the rest of the numbers through 10, Let's see if any work. 2 times something? No. 3? No. 4? No. 5? No. 6? No. 7? No. 8? No. 9? No. 10? No. So we also have numbers like 17 that have a special name because they only have 2 factors. 1 and then its number 17. So those are called prime numbers. And that's going to be important also to know when we get to some of our equivalent fractions, simplifying, and greatest common factor. So prime numbers they only have 2 factors, themselves and 1. And what I want you to realize is that sometimes, we might have a bigger number, like 57. Okay, well, so 57 is a big number, but that could be prime. 91 is a big number, but that could be prime. So just because you see, a small number, 24, it could have all kinds of factors. Just because it's a big number, it might only have a few. It might only have 4 factors. It might only have 2. It might be prime. So I just don't want you to be fooled by thinking of how big a number is, whether it has a bunch of factors or maybe only 2. All right, so let's look at our last 2 examples. All right, our last 2 are the number 100 and the number 36. So let's go ahead and do our counting up. So 1 times 100, 2 times 50. I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit. 4 and 25. All right, I can think about 6, 7s, 8s, 9s, and then we're going to get to 10. 10 times 10. Okay, and 5 and 20. So notice I add the 10. We don't have to write 10 twice, even though it's 10 times 10. So if the factor repeats, that's okay. You can just write it once. All right, and then we're going to rewrite those, remember, from least to greatest. So we have a 1, a 2, a 4, a 5, and then we have a 10, a 20, a 25, and I'm going to have to make a new line, a 50, and a 100. So all of those are the factors of 100. And remember that as we wrote them in the beginning, they do have to go in pairs. So it's not just, you can't just randomly pick, 2 and 10 are factors. That's true, but 2 times 10 is 20, not 100. So they do have to match up with their kind of friend, their partner friend, or their factor friend. All right, 36. Let's go down here. So we have 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, and then remember 6 and 6. 6 times 6, we don't have to write it twice. We'll just have the number 6. And once again, we will rewrite those. So we have lots of factors here. And even when we wrote a big chain out, notice how we only wrote a 6 once, and that's okay. We don't have to write 6 and 6. We know that that only has to be written once. All right, so once again, these are called factors, the numbers that you use to multiply to get a product or an answer. So they give you kind of the answer, so like 100, or they give you the 36, and you have to find all the pairs that kind of match up to that. All right, so once again, leave any questions in the comments, and thanks for watching Soflex Math.